The Soccer Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Arizona, Louisiana, and New York. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $10 and get $200 in free bets. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. Also brought to you by PropSwap, America's marketplace to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit to receive up to $500 in bonus cash. Head over to PropSwap.com or download the PropSwap app. Also brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy has a $100,000 guaranteed contest for the big game, plus a 100% deposit match at thrivefantasy.com, promo code SGP. Also brought to you by StableDuel. StableDuel is a horse racing DFS app where you can play free and paid games for real cash prizes. You can win as much as $15,000 with one entry. Head over to StableDuel.com and get started today. Also brought to you by Better Fantasy. Better Fantasy is a free-to-play app that lets you bet on all your favorite NFL player props for your chance to win awesome prizes. Download the app now or go over to betterfantasy.com/SGPN. And finally, don't forget to download the SGPN app and enter the free Super Bowl props contest for your chance to win $100,000.
Welcome to NFL Picks versus the Spread. We are being simulcast as usual. We are on the Dirty Sheets podcast, but also on the Soccer Gambling Podcast and the SGP Network. I'm Cav Manning. I am from the Lingus Mafia podcast. Everything I got is at Lingus Mafia, and I am with our bet picking extraordinaire. That is Mr. Billy Body.
Hey, so we are going across many platforms here with this one. We got an email this week saying that all the hosts were welcome to deliver NFL shows, and seeing as we are doing this anyway every single week over on the Dirty Sheets, I thought that we would do it together as opposed to me doing two shows, one with you and one without you. And I wouldn't do it without you anyway because you kicked my ass this year with the locks. The lock totals are in. Do you actually know how we did? Do you want to know?
Yeah, I would like to know. What do we got?
Okay. So the overall total, including the 4 futures that we put out at the start of the season, between us as a team, was 30, 13, and 1. We landed all of our 4 futures. We both wanted to take the Packers to win the NFC North. And I added the Jets to finish bottom of the AFC East, and you added the Chicago Bears win total. Cav is a Chicago Bears supporter, but he took the under 7.5 because he said it was the easiest money of the year, and it was.
The smartest.
Yeah, and that was a 4-0 sweep, and overall that took you to 17-5, and I was disappointed with mine because it was 13-8-1. And without the locks, it would have been 11-8-1, but it's 13-8-1 overall. And yeah, you delivered a 17-5. But even with your 17-5, remember you were about 10-0, I think, at one point.
Yeah, I was hot, and then I think I lost like 2 in a row. This is like the first year that I did those. That I did well in the elimination pools that I was in, the Survivor picks. Because I ran
like
the table.
In the world. Can you peak like 8
yes.
in the world?
I was actually at one point, I think I was 5th. I peaked there. And then after how they rank is by how many points that team won by. I didn't even know that. And that knocked me down to 13.
You were undefeated. You were unbeaten at this point, but you were only ranked 5th based on the margin of victories.
Yeah, and then it was like the late games had to come in, and then I think for the total year, I don't think I was beyond 13. I think I ended up like 13th overall, but undefeated. So by points, not number 1. But yeah, and there was a couple games where I had there were some close ones, and then there was I had New England at the end against Jacksonville where they went like 50 by 50 points. That shot me up pretty quickly. But it was a good year with that. And, it's funny. You mentioned, me being a Bears fan and, long-suffering, as you well know. And so I wrote the Chicago Bears owner. The owner's Virginia McCaskey. She is 97, 98, something like that. And actually, she's 99. She's 99. I'm wrong because she's right behind Betty White. She's trying to beat her. So I wrote to the owner, but it goes by George McCaskey. He's the president. He's the one who runs it. He's her son. I wrote a long letter, and I'm not a letter writer, but I love this team of mine. I'm stuck with this team. There ain't no, they could go, 0-17 forever now, and it's not like it's going to make me leave. You can't. You grew up with the team, you're stuck. So
that's why we watch wrestling.
Yeah, I'm stuck. I'm stuck there too. I got no choice but to cry and go, please do something. So I wrote a long letter. And I know when people write letters, it's, F you suck, you sell the team. It's a lot of that. I don't go that way. That's not going to get you anything other than nothing. Nobody going to take that seriously. I wrote him about, I've been a fan for this many years. Thank you for the team, first of all. I want them to be good again. Here are some suggestions. And I wrote them suggestions. I said, because I want to say, of course, Nagy and Pace are trash. Kick them out of the building. I don't want them. But you can't say that. You can't be a human being and say it. So I said, I'm sure they're lovely people. I've seen them. They seem like nice human beings. You wouldn't have any problem with them in real life as human beings. They're not right for this job. You need to move on from them. And I said, maybe you need to take some advice from former players like Olin Kreutz, who was a captain of that team. He knows what he's talking about. I said, I think
you're making me think about doing this about Manchester United, but I really need to hear the outcome first before I do that. Yeah.
So I've heard he's a personable. I heard he walks through the parking lot during tailgating and introduces and says hello to people. He's a man of the people, right? It doesn't mean he knows what he's doing. You could be nice and all. It doesn't mean you know football just because you're from a football family, even though you kind of should. And I said, maybe look at also Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh would be perfect for this job. I've been screaming I want Jim Harbaugh since he left the 49ers. He helps quarterback, all that stuff. I said, you need to, and a big, long letter, right? I did this in December. Guess what I received in the mail today? I got a letter from the owner of the Bears in the mail today. And didn't address anything I said. However, he sent me a handwritten card, which I will be framing. Bears letterhead, Bears stamped envelope, and all that kind of stuff. And it says, Dear Mr. Cavalier, thank you so much. Thank you for your letter of December 6th and for being a lifelong fan of the Bears. We are excited about Ryan Poles as our general manager and Matt Eberflus as head coach. Hope you...
Wait, Cavalier is your fake name, right? And Manning's your real name.
No, it's reversed.
Cavalier is your real name?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Maybe...
I should keep my real name, right?
Maybe he thought that was an alias. All right, so your wife is going to be something Cavalier.
Yes. Yeah, she'll be a Cavalier. And it's funny that I changed the best name in the world, Cavalier, into Manning, which, why? We are excited about Ryan Poles as general manager and Matt Eberflus as head coach and hope that you are too. Bear down, George H. McCaskey, signed. So I'm like, well, this is getting framed that I got the owner writing me a fucking letter by hand. No tickets though. No tickets for me. However, my family goes, you remember that I was doing every NFL team, the history of.
Wait, did you chuck anything in about your dad dying? Like, my dad died really sad because of this team.
No. No, I don't think I did. Meanwhile, he didn't really care about the Bears. He was a fucking Brady guy. So, and he was from New York, which makes no sense. But he was more Brady. He liked the Yankees. He didn't really. He'd watch football. He's not living and dying with football like me. So, but my family's like, you need to send in the one show you did about history of the Bears, because I did a whole podcast where it was the entire history. And so I said, you know what? I might. Why not? And I proposed to my girlfriend in front of the statue of Walter Payton in front of the stadium. So I might put that picture in there too and say, when I'm in town for a game, I might come by and say hi. So it can only help, right? Why not? So, but I always heard he wrote back to people, and I've seen it online where people yell at him and he writes back. Like they say, sell the team, and he writes back, I think we're going to stick with it. Thank you anyway. He signs it. I'm like, that's pretty good. So, and I've seen him during press conferences. He goes, well, now I'm going to go answer all my hate mail. So he gets mail and he writes back. So I always heard that, and I was like, I mean, I was looking for an email address, and you really couldn't find one. So I'm like, snail mail, wrote it by hand, and sent it to him in December, and got one today. So actually in the mail today. I was like, how about that?
Hey, maybe if like the whole team gets taken apart, you might actually go to the Bears-Packers game where you win next year.
I would think so. As soon as Rodgers leaves, then it's even Steven.
If he leaves.
I know.
They're saying now after he lost, he immediately wanted to know what the plans were for next year. That's what they said. They said that he stuck around for a 2-hour meeting after the loss.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. Their salary is so bad. I know there's ways to work around, but how are you keeping Adams and him? Even if it's a franchise tag, it's like $18 million for 1 year, and Rodgers is getting 40. That's like, who else you have? You got to have to cut a lot of people at that point, which, you're still going to have your head above water because it's Rodgers, but that's a lot, man. That is a lot to do. And I know Adams wants to get the hell out, as in no franchise tag. You can sign him long term, but he's sick of his franchise tag. That doesn't help things. So I don't know if Rodgers did the thing where he said, I just want to win, I'll take 20 or 15 a year. He ain't doing that, though. I mean, you would think these people got all this money, right? But at the same time, would you cut your price down all that time, or would you take your damn money?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, it was all about getting it done this year.
Yeah.
And I was so demoralized when it didn't happen. I didn't do
you were
our
not
NFL
happy.
show.
You were not happy. You were even yelling at me on Twitter because I was laughing. You're like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck. You sound like a fucking asshole.
you know what it was, right? It became way more than sport. And
of course it does. It affects you.
No, it's not just no. My teams lose, and I deal with it. Yeah, it affects me anyway because I'm passionate about sport. And this is the thing, right? Manchester United aren't doing well. Mm-hmm. Green Bay haven't been able to win the Super Bowl since 2011. So it's been rough. Like, Man United used to win everything. Green Bay wasn't a case of winning everything because it's much harder to do that in the NFL. I just took a liking to Brett Favre as a quarterback when I was younger, and that was what swayed my decision. But it's been rough when your own teams aren't winning, and everybody thinks, oh, you have this record in sports betting with this 9-year run that I'm coming up with in terms of making profit, and you're always going to enjoy watching sports while you're making money. But I've become pretty numb to that. For me, it's become more like investing the way a shareholder would invest in shares or stocks or whatever. And, it's become like that. I see it as investing. I'm so consistent with it that for me, it's kind of a little bit numb. And what I really want, not in place of that, because obviously that's my livelihood, but what would really be satisfying is actually getting something from my team. So that's the first thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I haven't had that for years. But this year was so different because of all the politics involved, and with Rodgers and Rogan and all these guys standing on my side in terms of what I believe. And it's not about vax or no vax, because I completely understand people that got vaccinated. For me, I don't think there's enough evidence that it actually works. But I can understand people that got it done because for their jobs. I can understand people that believe that it works because there's never been a reason not to believe in scientists, etc. But whatever. Like, I was more against the whole free choice, no mandates, let everybody just get on with it. If it works and they die and they chose not to get it, that's their fucking problem. It always has been. Same as drink driving, car crashes, sexually transmitted diseases.
Well, the car crash thing, that's a little rougher because those people are now putting my life in risk. I'm like, get on the road with me.
But you know what? Idiots die, right? And that's the thing. Like, idiots have always been allowed to die. And if you want to be an idiot, you should be able to kill yourself as an idiot.
The
Like,
seatbelt thing, that's what I'm more like. Like, if you don't want to wear your seatbelt, that's on you. You could kill yourself.
Right.
That ain't affect nobody. Yeah.
Either way, the freedom has always been there to be an idiot, and now suddenly it's a case of they wanted to police us. So it wasn't like vax or pro-vax or anti-vax or anything like that. It was always pro-freedom, and I think if anybody's not pro-freedom, you're a moron. Like, I don't understand how you can't be pro-freedom. I can't understand how you'd be pushing for mandates, especially coming from a country which is all centered around freedom. It's very shocking to see the America acting like this, especially some of the states, and even a situation with Australia that's supposed to be this cool and carefree country. So it became very political with these arguments that you have, and in my brain, which is insane now, looking back 2 weeks later, it had become a case of, oh, if Aaron Rodgers wins, he's going to shove it up the arse of all the governments in the world. All the governments are going to bow down to Aaron Rodgers, and we win. Like, we win. Everything we believe in wins. And it just built up, and it was like, we have to win. This isn't sport now. This isn't sport. This is life.
You took it to a totally different level.
This is like years of suffering, and it culminates with this moment of us winning, and this guy shoving up everybody's ass. And it was the same with like Rodgers and Djokovic and Rogan, and that's the thing. Like, that there really hasn't been a lot to root for. Like, you know, it's not been torture, but it has been miserable. Like, it has been difficult to really enjoy anything over the last 2 years, even when it's a case of, oh, we're opening up, and you know, you guys can go to the cinema and you can go to these events. Yeah, but there's people wearing masks and there's stupid fucking arrows on the floor telling me what way to walk and telling me that I need to stay this far away. It's not real. And I really felt like I wanted to be in the Super Bowl tomorrow, because, you know, winning that, I think, would have said, this is now over, because this guy won, and what this guy says we should be listening to, because he won the Super Bowl. I know it's so stupid.
It is crazy. You listen to any fucking jock like they know.
I know it's crazy, but also, like, there's the other side of it as well, where this was going to go one of two ways. Where if he won, it would be a joyous moment for obviously Packers fans and people that believe in what Rodgers and those guys are saying. Because I knew people that were supporting Green Bay this year that aren't even big football fans. Like, they barely watch. They're very casual. And this year they were like fully behind Aaron Rodgers. So there would have been a case of that victory for them. But also, had we lost, and we did, what I saw coming was all of the idiots that were going to be jumping on the McAfee clips, diving all over Rodgers, like laughing at him, laughing at the fact we lost at home. Like,
yeah,
I knew all of that was coming. We had to win. We had to win the NFC. The NFC. We could not get beaten at Lambeau. If we got to the Super Bowl, if we lost tomorrow, I don't think it would have been as bad, right?
Yeah. At least you got there.
But to get the number one seed
and
again,
the first game,
to fuck it up again, and to lose to them, and the way it was done, like, I couldn't sleep for days. I didn't sleep that day afterwards. Like, I smashed a 700-pound picture off my wall.
Oh my God!
Immediately, then I was just sitting there, like, just thinking, like, all night. How can you not punt? You must practice punting every day. How can you not punt?
Well, he could punt. The line didn't stop anything. I mean, Jesus, there wasn't a punter. The line fucking collapses. That's why their special teams were the worst in all football.
Yeah, either way, like special teams, whatever. Like special, yeah. How can you
not
special
block?
Teams
Yeah.
capitulate that? I mean, at first when it happened initially, I was like, oh fuck, like we're not going to cover the spread now. Because that's what I was thinking.
That was it. The spread.
I was like, oh, we were covering the spread, because they weren't going to go for a field goal to fuck up the spread. They were only going to go for a touchdown. Like, it was clear, because they had an opportunity to kick a field goal a few minutes before that, and they decided to go for it on fourth down, and there was a turnover. And then off that turnover, we didn't get any first downs, and we decided to punt it. So even if we had punted it back to them, we knew that the spread wasn't in danger, because they were only going to go for touchdowns. But the fact we gifted them a touchdown, the only thought I initially had was, we fucked up the spread. And then it only became apparent to me that we could lose this game because we weren't moving the ball at all. After that, again, it was another 3 and out. So I don't know what happened. I don't understand how we score with the first drive of the game and how we then end up only putting up 3 more points. I think if you play that game another 10 times, we would win maybe 8 or 9. I
don't know if it's just the 49ers that are in his head, like the Green Bay's always in the Bears.
I mean,
fuck.
I just don't think that they could have played any worse. And you see these idiots online going, "Oh, we need to get after that special team to say, oh, we need a new defense. They need to sort out their defense." Like that's what cost them. But it's like, in actuality, the defense
was great.
The defense, yeah, exactly. The defense kept them to 6 points that they scored by themselves. So
the offense fell apart, didn't score, and the special teams took a shit. That's all it took. I mean, like, they block a field goal, which, changes at the half, and then blocking a punt for a touchdown? Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, you know me. The only reason I don't want that, I had nothing to do with any vaccines or anything like this. It's my rival. It's a 100-year history. And I'm like, ugh. And like I said, I bet $200 on them to win the whole thing just because I wanted to be covered both ways. I would have been happy either way. At least I would have been like, well, they won a Super Bowl, and I'm disgusted by it, but I have $970 in my pocket now from $200. Or I like, my thing was always, would I pay $200 for them not to go to the Super Bowl? Yes, I would. So same thing. So and I was like, I'm buying a 49er fucking shirt if they fucking win as a thank you and all that shit over here. I was a big fan that day.
Yeah, well, for me, it carried over like for days, and normally it doesn't. It's like you sleep it off. And
I understand, because I mean, the little success I've seen my team ever have, that Parkey kick, I was like, I was watching the game when that happens, right? And they're in the play, and it's like they had a comeback, and boom, 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 and they're going to win. I go, maybe I am not suited for a team to be good, because I thought my heart was going to fall out of my chest. I was sick the whole fucking time. I was like, my heart was fucking beating so much, and then they missed that kick.
For people that are wondering why we're talking about this now, just to let you know, we do this show every week, but I refused to do it last week.
2 weeks ago, he refused. He goes, I'm not doing the fucking show. And what's funny is we're going back and forth on our messenger. And I'm like, so you want to do the show? You're like, fuck that, I'm not doing it. And this is like right after they lost. And I said, and I write back, go, nah, fuck you, you're fucking doing it. Like, I'm not letting your ass off the fucking hook. Your team lost, you take your medicine. And then I was like, hey, you want me to make a fucking bit out of it and just do the show by myself because you weren't into it anyway? And I'm like, well, I could go on the show and just say you refuse to because you're crying about Rodgers still. So it made for a fun show, and I just did the show on my own, and we did that thing, and I still had your picks. So, but let's get into what we're here for, and that is the Super Bowl. I was sad that you texted me, and this is probably still when you were still pissed off, though, about that the Packers were out. Because you said, boy, the NFL season took a dive. I don't even want to watch this Super Bowl. This is shit because Cincinnati's in it. And I'm like, this is one of the best playoffs. Obviously, your team lost. I mean, that's a fucking, that's going to stick in you, sure. But these games were all so fucking good if you look at it just from watching a game standpoint. They were fucking great. And the fact that Cincinnati's in there shows you the level playing field about that if you were shit 2 years ago, you could be in the fucking Super Bowl. And this is obviously, I mean, they do have a good defense, but it's Joe Burrow.
I think it's a great advertisement for the draft system.
Oh,
we don't
God,
have that
yes.
over here. I mean, what we have in soccer is the rich clubs make bids for the best players, and the smaller clubs accept them. Yeah, I mean the big clubs
sucks.
They just buy players. They make bids for players like 200 million.
The rich stay rich.
Yeah, they get the best players will go for like 200 million, and they'll have $250,000 a week wages. So yeah, the rich. This is not fair at all, but that's why you always get the same teams over and over and over again. It doesn't work all the time. Like my team, Manchester United, are very rich, but they just don't seem to be able to gel. Like these players, we get all the best players and they don't gel together. We've got Ronaldo this season and he's been really bad. So
it's like when, like a Lakers or, anybody buys 50 guys that are great. And it's like, even though you got Westbrook, Anthony Davis and LeBron, they might not make the playoffs. So, stuff like that where it's like, it's just not a team that gels. And so you see this, but I'm like, Joe Burrow's a fucking superstar. He could be the next one that'd be fun to, like, I like to watch Tom. Tom's going to be gone now, probably. And I'm like, I would put on a Cincinnati game to watch fucking Burrow because he got some swag to him. He's fucking slick out there. But they need offensive line. And that's what this game is all going to come down to for me, is offensive line. I am hoping that the Bengals do win this game. I will be rooting for the Bengals to win this. I mean, it's almost like if Detroit went. I don't have a problem with Detroit, really, even though they're my division. If they won all the time, I would hate fucking Detroit. But they're one of those that's like, who cares? Because they always fucking lose. So if they got good, if they fucking went there, I'd be like, I don't mind if they fucking win. But Cincinnati's been shit for so long. And now to have this, they have a good defense, which people don't really realize that it's their offensive line that's a problem. But they do make adjustments because all these games that they're winning, they were like bad in the first. And then it's like, okay, we figured it out. Now we're going to come after them. And for them to beat the Chiefs, they beat the Chiefs twice. So it can't be like, well, if they played multiple times, we know the Chiefs would win. I still think that, but they played them twice and won. And it was like the last game, it wasn't a game where the Chiefs were going, we could sit our guys, we have things locked up. They were fighting for first place and lost. So I'm like, he beat them twice. He beat Patrick Mahomes 2 times.
They came back twice. Like they were losing badly in the home game too.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's impressive. They're a team, and I like a team that claws and fights, and like they're not supposed to win, and they're F you, I'm killing myself to win, and they win, and they do it. And then you have LA, flashy. They've done the whole thing. They bought everybody. They brought everybody in the world in. They brought in Stafford. They brought in what's him from Denver? Can't even get his name on my head with the glasses. And they have their Cooper Kupp there. And so they traded away every first-round pick possible. They get Beckham. They traded for him, or they just got him off of waivers or whatever. And I'm like, my God, it's just one thing after another. So they've just gathered a lot of stars,
I think you absolutely have to invest in the Bengals if they're behind tomorrow, automatically, even if you don't believe that they can come back. When you look at the comebacks that they've made, where they came back twice against the Chiefs, and then you look at how the Rams, in contrast, are relinquishing leads. They allowed the 49ers back into the game, and they did lose that game on week 18. And then look at what happened with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. Like, had that actually gone to overtime, the momentum was all with Tampa, and the Rams.
Tampa's in the Super Bowl today, tomorrow, if they pulled that out. I have no doubt about that. Yeah.
And I feel like they, the reason they're not is because they gave them a possession again, and they didn't actually have that overtime period to calm down. I believe that they just were not focused for that drive.
The defense blew it. And bomb over the top. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but I just feel that when you look at those two things and correlate them against each other, you have to take the Bengals if they're behind tomorrow. But do you think that overall the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl first and foremost?
No, I would give the 4 points and take LA. It's hard.
Interesting you say that, because you would take the 4 points for the Bengals, but you think LA are going to win.
No, I wouldn't take the 4 points with the Bengals. I'm saying I would give the 4 points and take the Rams still.
Yeah.
So yeah,
here's some interesting stats because we'll move on to the.
And I was thinking of Von Miller before, by the way, when I was talking about the guy from Denver. Go ahead.
We'll actually talk about the total and the and the game collectively before we actually move on to props. So
yeah, because we got some fun props for you guys, some crazy shit. So go ahead.
Yeah, when you're looking at this game, for me, I see it going under, particularly in the first half. The Bengals do seem to be more conservative when they play that first half. So I don't see this game getting to 49 points.
There'll be a lot of running in the first half.
Yeah, and I don't see this these 24 points in the first half either, if that's what you've got it as, 24 points. looking at this game overall, Bengals are 9-5 straight up as a dog in their last 14. So they've won 9 games as an underdog out of 14. And looking at the overall picture as to who will be the champion, whoever ends up as the champion usually covers. And they have done in 12 straight games. So in 12 straight games, whoever was the champion also covered ATS. So when you're looking back at Tampa being an underdog last year, they ended up being the champion and they covered their numbers. So what you don't have here is many cases of somebody winning and then losing on the spread. So, for instance, you don't have the Rams winning by 3 points tomorrow and losing the spread, but winning the game. That's just not been happening at all. For 12 straight times, the champion has also been the spread winner. And overall, if you look at all time, it's 47-6-2. So on only 6 occasions in history has somebody won the game and lost the spread. And it would be number 7 tomorrow if, for example, the Rams won and they only won by 1, 2, 3, or 4 points because the line's now 4.5. So if they win, but they win by less than 4.5, then they would be the 7th team in the history of the Super Bowl to win and not cover their spread. And obviously, if an underdog wins, that means they've covered the spread anyway. That's just common sense.
There was one a player prop that I thought was really worth putting some money on because I think it was at the time, it was either plus 1,800 or 1,600. And that was for Aaron Donald to be the MVP.
Right.
And I thought that was something to at least throw a couple dollars on.
Are we moving on to props now?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. What else do you want to put on the game?
Well, let me just give you my last two stats that I pulled up. In the last 10 Super Bowls, the underdogs have won 7 of them. Mm-hmm. 7-3. And teams with a better regular season record going into the Super Bowl are 1-11 in the last 12. So who's got the better record out of these two from the regular season?
I believe it was the Rams, yeah. That is interesting. That is very interesting. They have, you can talk about. Okay, they have the goofy prop bets. I mean, would that Aaron Donald be one that you would put something on? I think that's a pretty good one because of the line being shit of Cincinnati. He could actually literally win the game for them.
Yeah, I do think that the defenses will come out on top here in this game. I like the under and the under in the first half, and that's simply down to the fact that we saw this Bengals team totally contain the Chiefs in the second half once they made their adjustments. We know what the Rams are about. They're going to make Burrow throw the ball here in this game. I think we'll see a lot of carries from Mixon, but I don't think we'll actually see the yards. I don't think that we'll see him getting the yards. I like Mixon to go under 61.5 rushing yards, but I do think that because they're going to be passing the ball, I think he'll go over his 3.5 receptions. He's actually averaging 5.2 in his last 5. And one of the plays that I like the most here is Samaje Perine, if I'm saying that right, to have under 5.5 rushing yards. Now, obviously, he only needs to break one big rush here for 6 yards, and you lose that bet. But this bet has landed in the last 5 games where he only got 2 carries combined in the last 5 games. So he doesn't actually need to get any carries here. He can just stand there, and this is a valid bet. And when Mixon isn't going to, in my opinion, when Mixon isn't working, I don't think that necessarily means you just get the other guy in. I think that just means you focus on the throw. And if you're not getting any yards on your first down, then, or if you get backed up or in any way, I don't think you're going at 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 12 or whatever that you're going to be handing the ball off to Mixon. So I think initially you do try and do that. But as for Perine, I don't think he's going to get any action in this game at all. So that's one of my strongest plays. I like Mixon also under as well. And I like Mixon over 3.5 with his receptions because He's got more than that in all the last 5. He's averaging 5.25 receptions in his last 5. So there's some of the props that I like, and that's how I see the game playing out.
Okay, let's get into goofy ones, and I'm going to write him down to see how we do with stupid stuff.
Do you want me to? I thought you were going to add some more in there. Do you want me to just finish off the ones I have?
Yeah, please do. Please finish that off, and we'll go into goofy stuff.
Yeah. Other things I like here. I think the Bengals' first scoring play will be a field goal. I think that once they're in a position to score points, I don't think that they're going to do anything stupid to try and force a touchdown or get backed up. So I think the points are going to be at a premium at the beginning. So I think the first score is going to be a field goal. Bengals' first drive. This is one of my favorite bets. You have to lay a little bit of juice on it, but I do think this will come to fruition. And I think the Bengals' first drive will be a punt. On the road so far this season, they have 7 punts, 1 fumble, 1 field goal, and 1 touchdown, which is against the Lions from all of their first possessions. So I'm talking about all of their games here, Cav.
Yeah.
The 10 road games that they played so far this season, their first possession, they've punted in 7 out of the 10 with 1 fumble, 1 field goal, and 1 touchdown. The punts and fumbles have all come when they've been backed up inside their own 35, which is obviously going to be the case here. And also to add to this, the Rams' last 7 opening possessions against them, they've made the team punt with every single one of them. So I don't see anything changing here. So I think this is going to be a good bet. Last couple, I like Kendall Blanton, anytime touchdown here at 5-2. The way the Rams operate on offense and the way they utilize the tight end, I think he's always going to be open. So there's many opportunities to score a touchdown if you get into the red zone. And the last one is Cam Akers. I think he's going to get under 66.5 yards here. He's 3-0 to the under in the postseason. And since he come back from injury, he's only averaging 2.6 yards per carry. So I still think his line is overinflated at 66.5. And that's all the proper ones. The only goofy one I have here is on the Gatorade, but you can run through the rest.
Yeah, that will be on there too. The Gatorades is on here. So both for the heads or tails, of course, the coin toss. They're both minus 105. I'll pick tails. What do you want?
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. That's what I say too. Now, here's the thing. Will the team that wins the coin toss win the game?
Is there historical data on that?
I don't. Well, the teams win the coin toss are 24-31. This includes an 0-7 mark the past 7 Super Bowls and a 3-8 mark in the past 11. I'll say yes, they win to break the trail here because it's 0-7 right now.
Sometimes weird stats like that don't really have any kind of any kind of analytical reason. Where in terms of
it's like roulette.
It's not down to like talent or weather or any kind of external like reasons. Those sort of trends do tend to normalize, so they should normalize a little bit more. They shouldn't start moving towards the other direction.
Okay, so you'll say they'll win if they win the coin toss.
Yeah, let's go for that for a change.
All right, color of the Gatorade that is poured out. And by the way, did you know the Bears invented that? And it wasn't for the Super Bowl. They did it before that. So, but the Giants are credited with it, which is funny because it was more caught at the time when it happened. So the color of the Gatorade, since 2001, the color of the liquid poured on the winning coach has been orange 5, no color 5, or none at all was 5, clear 4, yellow 3, blue 3, purple 1. Now, based on numbers, people think clear has the most value.
Have you got a betting in your betting market? Does it say yellow green together? Right.
Yes, it does. Yellow green is together, and red and pink is together. It's too close to call, which is odd because I think yellow and green are pretty fucking different. You see a green fucking color, and you see you tell me the Packers wear one color? It's green and yellow. Fucking people looking at.
Well, there's some inside. Well, I don't know how inside it is, but there's information floating about that.
Okay.
Well, it's a fact. It's a fact that when the Rams won the NFC Championship, it was yellow green. And when asked about that, the person that was asked simply turned around and said that, yeah, that's the flavor that we like drinking. So they actually like that yellow green one. That's what they really drink. And that's what they had in the NFC Championship. So if you think the Rams will win, I don't see any reason why that would change. Obviously, there's a lottery if the Bengals win, but there is an edge for me on yellow-green. You've never thought I'd be talking about an edge on the Gatorade color, but there is actually, that is doing the, that where I look on Twitter, I have seen that. So
it's funny because orange is plus 250. I'll take orange just because I go, well, if the Bengals win, maybe they got orange because that's their team. None is 350. Blue is 400. Clear is 450. Yellow green is 450. Red pink 6 and purple 1,000. Let's see. Super Bowl postgame MVP speech prop bets. What will be mentioned first during the Super Bowl MVP speech? You have team/teammates, city and fans, God and religion, family, coaches, team owner. I would think it would go between team and God. Team is minus 120. City fans plus 325. God plus 370. Family plus 690. Coaches plus 1,200. Team owner 2,500.
I don't think these quarterbacks are God guys. It's not like it's Carson Wentz out there. So I don't know. It depends. You really need to know about the court. I assume it'll be the quarterback.
Is Stafford a God guy? I mean, would you think Stafford win the MVP though, if they win, or is it going to be our Donald?
Yeah, I guess it could be. It could be. No, they usually do give it to the quarterback unless it's a real low scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Because I'm gonna say team and teammates is mentioned first. That seems to be the big favorite. And they say City fans has more value this year with the Rams playing in their home stadium. But it's likely that team and teammates are mentioned first. There's plenty of value with all the other options as any could be done.
What do you think about the sort of story that's out there that the Bengals may end up getting more people into this stadium somehow?
I believe it. I believe it 100%. I think it's going to be home field for the Bengals. The Rams don't fucking show. You saw what the fuck happened. All the 49ers were there. It was fucking over 60% was 49ers. That place was crazy.
Can someone from Cincinnati afford to get to the Super Bowl?
I think so. I think the
ticket prices.
I think the crazy people, they've been waiting since 89 or 88 for this shit. They're fucking going. And I think they're gonna flood the fucking place. I think LA, they're in LA is a different world. Like, it's the Dodgers. Nobody shows up on time. Nobody stays for the game. Nobody really gives a shit. And the Rams were St. Louis before when they were LA, and then St. Louis now. And it's like, they don't seem to pack that stadium. It's, I mean, you see how it is with the Chargers there too. Nobody seems to care. So, okay. Here's a stupid one. Will a player propose after the game? Yes is plus 400. No is minus 650. I think that's an easy no.
Yep, yeah, I agree.
Super Bowl commercials. Which company will air first? Meta is minus 170. Amazon.
Well, we won't see any of these because it's on the BBC over there. But it's on Sky. It's on Sky all year, and it will remain on Sky. But randomly, it also ends up commercial free on the BBC.
Really?
But also, I mean,
on
on Sky, we wouldn't see your commercials anyway. It's the same when we watch the wrestling. Like we insert our own commercials.
Yeah,
and they're longer than yours, so like we miss a couple of seconds when they come back.
It's funny because, I mean, the commercials are, everybody loves commercial. That's the fun stuff. Meta is minus 170. Amazon Prime is plus 225. Google is plus 275. I think Meta will go. They're going crazy with the Facebook thing with Meta.
We don't have commercials like yours at all. Like, I find when I'm over there, it's all like this medication and this insurance and then food. And while I'm there, I always put on a load of weight when I'm there. I'm talking like 6 to 10 pounds if I go to US
all
for a week.
Wendy's.
Because it's not. It's actually like you put something on TV, and then I go on to Google and I find where's the closest one of those to where I'm staying.
Really? Wow, the commercials work.
Yeah, of course they do. Because there's like all this fucking big fat like greasy food, like just. With like melted cheese over it and everything. It's like, and you end up going to buy. Like you get hungry watching your TV. We don't advertise anything like that at all. Like, sometimes like the McDonald's adverts, it's like some guy with his some guy bonding with his some kid bonding with his dad. Like God. A divorced dad,
AT&T or something,
and they bond over a Big Mac. It's not a case of, it's not like food porn, which is what your commercials are.
Yeah, big juicy sandwich dripping all over the place. That's what the fuck that is.
Yeah, no, you don't get any of that here. It's like all this weird emotional stuff to get you to eat the food.
So these don't have like numbers or stuff, but these are on another site giving other kind of bets, right? So first song played during the halftime show. I thought a good one would be that they have on here too is California Love. I think that would be going out first. I don't know if you're very familiar with all those people, that Dre and Snoop and everybody like that, and Mary J. Blige, Eminem, that they're going to be out there. After that, they say, what's the last song to be performed?
I don't think Tupac's going to be at the Super Bowl.
No, he won't, but I would assume they got to do something with, maybe they do a hologram with Tupac. Fucking knows. They might. Eminem might be the last song, Lose Yourself, because they get everybody fucking fired up before the end of, before it goes back. Who's performing first out of that group?
I only really looked this up today to see that was a thing.
That's a good fucking Super Bowl halftime, that's for sure. I forget the other guy. There's always one guy that I forget. It's Mary J. Blige, Snoop, Dre, Eminem, and another guy. I don't remember who the fuck he is.
You said Dre.
Yeah, I said Dre. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and then there's another guy.
The Game?
No. I don't know where the fuck he's been. No. Type in Super Bowl halftime performers.
50 Cent?
Nope. He's a guy you wouldn't fucking know, pretty much, I think. He's not one of those main stars.
Derek Montier?
It's definitely not. So that's someone you wouldn't know.
It's a guy I would know, wouldn't I?
You wouldn't know, I don't think. I don't think you would know at all. I gotta type it in. Let's see.
All right, who we got?
Halftime performers.
Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar.
There you go. Kendrick Lamar, motherfucker. That's who it is. Exactly. Right. Do you know any Kendrick Lamar songs?
No.
Exactly. So a lot of people think Mary J. Blige will be the first one to perform. I don't know. I think you want to, I know you want to build up, but you also want to start that fucker with something, So maybe Snoop starts that thing.
Yeah. Who do you think that is the biggest one that goes last? Eminem?
No, I think Dre has to. He's the leader of the group. I mean, Snoop is probably the most, famous of all of them, and he's like mainstream now and everything like that.
I don't think Snoop's more famous than Eminem.
Oh, I think Snoop is still pumping up. Snoop is on the Puppy Bowl with Martha Stewart, and he's everywhere.
In terms of being commercial overall,
Yes.
like and sustainability. But
I don't know. Have you heard anything new from Eminem lately? I haven't heard shit.
But in the year 2000 and 2000 and in 1999 and year 2000, maybe in 2001, he was the most famous person.
Oh yeah,
on the whole planet.
Yep.
So that's different. Like you don't forget that at all.
Yeah. So was 50 Cent was enormous too. What happened to him? He's doing movies or something, but I haven't heard a word from him.
No, I don't think it was like the way Eminem was, because Eminem was revolutionary. When you're a revolutionary like a Cobain was, or an Eminem or Michael Jackson was in the 80s, like that sticks a lot longer. I feel he's the most famous.
Will Roger? This is an easy bet right here. Will Roger Goodell be shown? People are writing, twice at least. They're going to show him. Yeah. And he has to fucking give away the trophy. So I guess this would be beforehand. Are they showing him? I would think they show him in the crowd watching for sure. Who will be the first commercial after kickoff? We were talking about that earlier. How many celebrities will be shown during this broadcast? You think we're at a dozen? You want to take over or under a dozen?
It's weird, isn't it? Because that's subjective as to like who you would even consider a celebrity. So if you see some guys in there,
well, they'll point them out though. They'll go, look who's here, and they'll show a block of 6 at a time. Oh, Leo DiCaprio's here.
Okay, so what if the whole of the Lakers team is there? Like, do you think is LeBron a celebrity and the others are not a celebrity?
Usually the whole team won't be together though. So you might have like LeBron, and he's not going to be sitting with AD, but AD will be in another booth. But I mean, I would say yes if there's sports people, and I think sports people are going to be there. I don't think, and I think it'll be by mention, and I think they'll have to say who it is.
I think in that market, considering that a big percentage of the most famous people on the planet all live in that place and probably are being invited to go there, I think that would really. What's the total? What's the number?
Oh, I said 12 over under.
Oh, well over.
You think well over? I think they're going to show a big group at first, but usually they'll do like 6 or 7.
Oh, they're going to invite at least 50, because think of everybody that lives there already. I don't see how you don't do that. I don't see how, every person from Hollywood that lives there is not going to be at the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of if they show them, because remember, like Rob Lowe, and I think also whoever's got TV shows on that network is who they show most. And they showed like Rob Lowe sitting in a seat, and it said, and he was just wearing a hat that said NFL, no team, nothing. Because, like I say with talking politics or anything, they say, well, both sides buy your shoes, so don't pick a side. It's the same thing. Don't say that's I like this team. People hate you. Yes.
That's Michael Jordan saying. Yeah.
And I use that all the time. I say, why don't you talk politics? Because both Republican and Democrat buy my shoes. That's fucking why. Why would you ever fucking say it? You're cutting half the world off. Don't do it. So he's wearing just an NFL hat. Because if he's a Dallas fan, people fucking might hate. They'd be like, I'm not watching him. He's a fucking Dallas fan. You don't want to put that out there. Just don't even fucking do it. So, I don't know. It depends on, I think, a lot of people who are having a TV show over there. They have a lot of yes or no answers here, too. We get 5 through. It was Bengals score first and win, yes or no? Rams score first and win, yes or no? The Bengals one is plus 300. The Rams one is plus 150. I think the Rams can score first.
I think the Rams will score first as well, whether they'll win or not. But that's the thing. You're in a good hedge position. If you take the Rams to score first and win, and then they are ahead going into the fourth quarter, we know that we can hedge that play out, because we know there's data there to tell you that the Rams find it difficult to hold on to leads and the Bengals come back. So, yeah.
So here's a weird one. It is Bengals-Rams to win each quarter. Bengals to win each quarter, no is minus 10,000. But if you go yes, it's plus 3,000. Rams to win each quarter, no, minus 10,000. But to say yes, it's plus 1,500. That's that one. Any thoughts on that one? That's kind of a hard one to win each quarter. Even if it's 0-0, you're fucked.
I definitely don't. I think with the ebbs and flow, no, I don't think anyone's going to win every quarter. That's not going to happen.
How about Bengals and Rams to score every quarter? Each one of them has to score every quarter. Bengals to score every quarter, yes, would be plus 230. Rams to score every quarter, yes, plus 140. I would think you could score every quarter. The Rams?
Yeah, I do think this is going to be a field goal heavy game. I do like the prop on this game of over 3.5 field goals because I certainly think that these teams are going to hold each other to field goals, and I think we will see four field goals in this game, and therefore, if they are taking field goals, that makes it a lot more viable that they can keep score. But for one team to continue scoring, I mean, especially if you're looking, for example, at the Rams being up going into that last quarter, say, for example, it's 24-14, right? Why need to score points? You're going to want to run the ball throughout the quarter, and even if you're in a position where you can score a field goal and whatnot, what you might do is you may go for it on 4th down and not get it, and just prefer to have them, take the ball all the way on their in the 10-yard at the 10-yard line, whatever. So it's difficult when stuff like that comes about because you don't know how the game is going to play out. Obviously, if it's a case of they score, you score, they score, you score, that makes it a lot easier. But we know it's not going to be that way. So I think the only way you do that is if a team wants to continue scoring. But then again, one of your dangers of this bet is two teams having a really good running game, which eats up possession time. I think these two teams are going to probably keep it in the air. I do think we'll see a lot of Burrows and Stafford tomorrow. So that gives you more of a chance of there being points every quarter. It's just a case of whether that converts to touchdowns. I don't think it will.
Here's some easy ones. Either team scores a safety. Yes is plus 750. Do you think so? I would say no.
No, I don't think so.
This game will be tied after 0-0. So after someone scores, the game will be tied eventually again. Yes is minus 120. I would think so.
Wait, can they score a field goal?
Yeah, if one scores 3 and then the other one comes back scores 3, that's tied.
Yeah, I think that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Score in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Yes is minus 300.
That's pretty big for that. Because you feel like teams are...
Usually they do. They do that 2-minute drill and always walk down the field on the other team.
Yeah, and I think when teams feel like there's so little time left that it's unlikely that they're going to give the other team possession, they will take more risks in that situation, especially to try and put up 7. So yeah, I mean,
that's what cost the Kansas City the game. They couldn't score,
and they may even try something like a 58-yard field goal or something at that point in time.
Yeah,
you have at those odds. You have a good shot. Yeah.
Let's see. Successful 2-point conversion. No is minus 340. I would say that's I don't think anybody's even going to try.
Like 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could do if you're down by 8.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there'll be a situation for it.
But the odds on no are like way too short. So
yeah.
No part.
Yes is plus 260.
Yeah, no, it'd be dog or pass.
Special teams or defensive touchdown scored. Yes is plus 210.
Yeah, we could see that, but again, this isn't really what stuff I'm looking to bet on. But yeah, I think for everything, it's underdog or pass. I think with the Super Bowl, it's one of those weekends where obviously I I think that you should always try and make money. My whole thing is investing in sports rather than gambling. But I think this is one of those days where you should try and enjoy the game, and you can just have, 10, $20 on this, that, and the other, and just tick stuff off or cross stuff off when it loses, and tick stuff off when we have a little bit more fun than, I would usually recommend. I think it's fun to win, but in this instance, it can be a case of you not feeling like you're losing money, if that makes sense. It's money. When you go to, I feel that when I go to Vegas is very different to when I put a bet on my phone, or I feel like that's money I'm ready to lose. And I think the Super Bowl can be that type of occasion where, okay, I'm going to have like 500 on this game or 200 on this game or whatever, but I'm willing to lose all of it. I don't care. I just want to enjoy this
time. Yeah. And see, that's why I was glad about this Super Bowl too, because when it comes down to it, I don't really care who wins, and I don't have to be stressed out watching this game. I could just fucking watch it. Like, if the Rams win, I'll be happy for Stafford because he was stuck with the fucking Detroit for 100 years in garbage, And then if the Bengals win, it's because, the Bengals were shit all this time. There was one last one. I don't know the odds, but it was, and I heard everybody saying no to this, and I was going the other way hard on it, where will Snoop smoke on stage? I think yes by a mile. It's California. You're allowed to. And I think he would, even if it was fake and it was tobacco. I think he's doing it. People are saying no. I say he does.
Yeah, I mean, everything's very woke and PC now. So maybe he'll be asked not to.
I don't know, but you're allowed to here.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, well, it's not like it's illegal. So he could. And I figure that's his gimmick, He's got to always be doing it. No, it's not like it's a fucking surprise. So, well, that is it, Billy. We're ready for the Super Bowl. We've given everybody all the nonsensical props, which if they want to play with those are fine, but we also gave them the real stuff, the good stuff, and they can get all their bets. Where can they find ways to bet with you?
Just to clarify, you like the Rams.
I like the Rams, and I will be giving the 4.5 points to the Bengals. I will take the Rams minus 4.5.
And you didn't have anything on the total?
No, I would. You know what? What is it? 49.5? You said
49.
49. You know what? I'll take the over.
No, I'm the opposite to you. I think I'm almost the opposite on both. I mean, it's difficult to see the Rams getting to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years and not winning one because they are the better team. But some of these numbers that I ran through at the top scare me. I'm not going to be giving out a major bet on the game. I'm going to be keeping it to props and staking some of the props that I mentioned on here. And I may go a little bit more heavier on the under because I don't see these two teams putting up 49 points. I just see them being able to stop each other. And I think it would be a while for it to get going. I wouldn't be surprised if after the first quarter you can get a much better number, where you only need over 41 or 42 instead of needing 49, because I do think it will take a while to get going.
Yeah, so I think it could slow down for a while and then maybe it gets hot eventually. But I also just think with that line too, it's going to be, the scoring would be obviously for the Rams if they can get going, but it is defense versus offense. But at the same time, it's defense versus offense on both sides, to tell you the truth, because the Rams have a great offense and the defense of Cincy is great, and then you have Burrow thrown to Chase over there with the defense of the Rams, but it's that line that is the biggest problem. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get this off as much as he needs to, but they're good at adjustments. So it's going to be like nice little quick passes. They're not going to let him sit around and do this because this could be a problem. There was another prop bet. It was 2 rushing attempts, 2.5 or 1.5, something like that, rushing attempts for Stafford. And I would have taken the over. I would assume he's going to run maybe 3 times and just chased out of the pocket and run. All it's got to be is forward momentum, and that counts. So where can we find everything, Billy?
Yeah, I plug this every week anyway, but I'm at lockbetting.com. I've said a lot about what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, but obviously it's just a case of staking it. It's Super Bowl, so I'm going to be looking for more and more players. We've already done pretty extensive work this week, as you can hear. My service has delivered 104 months in a row of transparent track profit. Collectively with Cav, we had a monster NFL season. We talked about our locks, but also across this season, we had winning weeks galore across the season. We won for 17 weeks out of the 22. Is it 22? Is it 23?
Of what? The weeks?
Yeah, of the season. It's 22, isn't it?
Well, it was 18 for regular season.
Oh, it's 23. It's 23, yeah. It's 23. And I had 5 losing weeks. So, yeah, it's 16 weeks out of 21. Fucking hell. It's 21, right?
You tell me.
Yeah, it's 20. Yeah, 20, it's 21, 18 weeks of the regular season, and then 3 additional weeks that we've had.
Yeah, so, and people need to stay tuned to this feed on the Dirty Sheets, or either you could also check in on mine at Lingus Mafia's podcast. You can find that anywhere you get your podcast. Just look for that, because we will have future plans in the works. So stay tuned to these channels, and you will hear Billy and I have updates and news when it comes to it. So,
so we'll be doing this. We won't be doing this show next year on the Dirty Sheet, which is primarily a wrestling channel. We've been doing it for a couple of years now, and we have a big following there. So we're going to set up properly to do this show properly next year, because off the back of doing that well, we do need to take it more seriously. So, yeah, as I said, you got the lock records at the start. 16 weeks of profit we delivered out of 21 overall. I don't think many so-called handicappers have been doing that. And on my service, lockbetting.com, I'm 4 months away from being undefeated for 9 years. That will be 9 years without a single losing month. You can sign up in time for the Super Bowl, but also we cover all the other sports as well. My spreadsheets are available on my Twitter account. My main Twitter account is at lockbetting.com, but I'm also available at SGP Soccer, where I will be posting up stuff exclusively about soccer. But for my opinions, if you want to hear those, and all other sports and whatnot, such as the Super Bowl, NBA, etc., that's at lockbetting.com, and Cav's at Lingus Mafia.
Yeah, you'll find all my stuff over there, so just check it out. We'll always be updating you on what we're doing on when we get the new channel and all that kind of stuff. So just follow along with us. For Billy Body, I'm Cav Manning. Enjoy the Super Bowl. See you next year.
He could go all the way.